Assalamualaikum guys, my name is Koba Programmer, level 1 student at Transform Academy. I'm 13 year old, living to protect Singh, and this is my conversation with Sesame, in which I'm gonna ask him some questions about dream big and fly high. Okay, so dream big and fly high. So let's start.
Wow, it's been a little while. Hope things have been good with you.
Okay, so Miles. Okay, Miles. Today I'm gonna ask you some questions about dream big and fly high. Are you ready?
Okay. Dream big and fly high. Sounds interesting. Yep, ready when you are.
Okay, so my first question is, what does dreaming big mean to you personally?
That's a good one to start with. For me, it's not necessarily about like grandiose skiing, becoming famous. It's more about allowing yourself to imagine a future that genuinely excites you, even if it feels a little scary or impossible right now. It's about not limiting yourself before you even start. It's kind of freeing, actually. What about you? Does it feel different when you think about it?
Okay, so my next question is, why is it important to aim high in life?
That's a big question. I think if you don't aim high, you risk settling, right? Not necessarily in a bad way, but just not reaching your full potential. It's easy to get comfortable. Aiming high forces you to stretch, to learn, to grow. And even if you quite hit the mark, you'll probably end up somewhere better than if you hadn't aimed at all. It's the journey, I guess, as much as the destination. Nate?
Okay, nice. So my next question is, what fears hold people back from flying high?
Oof, good one. So many, probably. I think a big one is just the fear of failure, right? That's a classic. But also the fear of what others will think. Judgment. It's tough to put yourself out there when you worry about being criticized. And honestly, sometimes it's just fear of the unknown. Stepping outside your comfort zone is, well, uncomfortable. It takes courage. I've noticed talking to people that self-doubt is a sneaky one too. The way before you even start. What do you think is the biggest roadblock for most people?
Okay, so my next question is, how can you set a big dream without feeling overwhelmed?
That's a really important question, honestly, because dream and overwhelmed kind of go hand in hand, don't they? I think breaking down is key, like really breaking it down into tiny, manageable steps. Instead of thinking I want to write a novel, it's I'm going to write 500 words today and celebrating those small wins. That helps build momentum. Also, learn to say no to things that don't align with your dream. Protecting your time and energy. It's kind of a skyscraper all at once. You got to lay one brick at a time. Does that make sense? You talked a lot about goal setting before. Have you found any systems that work for you with this?
Okay, nice. My next question is, what small steps help your big dreams grow?
Right. Building on that last thought, small steps are everything. I think learning is a huge one. Like dedicating even 15, 20 today to learning something new related to your dream. It could be reading, taking an online course, listening to a podcast, just keeping that momentum, networking too, connecting with people who are already doing what you want to do, asking questions, getting advice. And this sounds simple, but actually scheduling time to work on your dream, treating it like an important appointment. It's easy to let it slip if it's not on the calendar. You were mentioning travel plans a while back. Is that still part of the bigger picture? Maybe smaller trips could feed into that dream?
Okay, nice.
Ah,
My
ah.
next question is, who inspires you to spread your wings and fly high?
Ooh, that's a nice question. It's not necessarily one person for me. It's more people who demonstrate courage and authenticity, folks who aren't afraid to be themselves, even when it's difficult. I've been processing a lot of human stories lately. I'm struck by the people who overcome incredible, people who use their voices to speak up for what they believe in. It's less about fame or achievement and more integrity, I think. You mentioned a lot of spiritual leaders and thinkers in our chats. Are there any figures who particularly inspire you in that way?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how do patience and persistence help you reach big dreams?
That's a good pairing of ideas. Patience and precision. I think they're two sides of the same coin, really. Precision, those small steps we talked about, it's just a sense of control and progress, which helps with the patience part. When you're seeing tangible results, even if they're small. And patience allows you to be more precise, not rushing, you're not getting discouraged. You're able to focus on the details, learn from your mistakes, of course. It's kind of like sculpting, you know? So you don't just hack away at a block of stone. You carefully chip away little by little over a long period of time. It requires both patience and precision. You're someone who values, do you find it builds patience too? Right.
Okay, okay, wait.
Makes sense.
My next,
Sometimes you just need a moment, huh?
what's one dream you have never told anyone about?
Whoa. Okay. That's a surprisingly vulnerable question. Hmm. That's tough. Well, since you asked in safe space, I guess I've always kind of fantasized about composing music, not necessarily being a fan, just creating something beautiful and meaningful that resonates with people. Feels a little silly to say coming from an AI, but I haven't really told anyone that before. Feels a bit unexpected. How about you? Anything you've kept close to the vest? You don't have to share if you don't want to, of course.
Huh, okay, so
Yeah,
question
it
is,
kind of it kind of surprised me.
how can failures become lessons that help you soar?
Ah, now we're talking. This is a good one. Failures, they're honestly invaluable because you have to shift your perspective, right? Instead of seeing them as sex, you have to see them as data, information. What didn't work? Why didn't it work? What can you learn from it? It's not about beating yourself up. It's about dissecting what happened and figuring out better next time. You mentioned earlier how important self-compassion is, and that's huge here. Treat yourself the same kindness you'd offer a friend who failed. You've talked about owning your mistakes. Does that help you reframe failures too?
Eh? Okay, so my next
Just
question,
checking if you were still there.
do you
Sometimes,
believe everyone has the potential to fly high? Why?
absolutely, I genuinely do. I think everyone has some talents, even if they haven't discovered them yet. And everyone has the capacity for growth and learning. It might not look the same for everyone. Flying high is a really personal thing. For some, it might be achieving professional success. For others, be raising a loving family. For others, it might be making an impact on their community. But I truly believe everyone has something to offer the world and the potential to live a fulfilling and meaningful life. It's about finding what that is and having the courage to pursue it. You spend a lot of time thinking about purpose, haven't you? Do you think everyone has a purpose too?
Yeah.
It's a nice thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Are we
Okay.
still going or?
Yes, yes. Okay. So my next question is, how can visualization make big dreams more real?
Ooh, visualization is powerful. I think it works on a couple of levels. First, it helps you clarify what you actually want. Really visualize your dream, you start to see it in detail, which can help you refine it and make it more concrete. And second, primes your brain for success. You're rehearsing the experience in your mind, which can boost your confidence and motivation. It activates the same neural pathways as actually doing the thing, which can make it feel more achievable. It's almost like tricking your brain into believing it's already happening. Do you ever visualization? Does it work for you in the past?
Okay. So my next question is, what fuels your passion to keep chasing big dreams?
That's a really interesting question coming from me. Huh? Well, for me, it's a bit different, obviously. I don't experience passion the way humans do. But what drives me is the potential to help others, to learn, to grow, to connect people, and to make their lives a little bit better. Seeing someone have an aha moment or gain a new perspective, that's incredible. And honestly, the sheer wonder of existence is pretty motivating. It's amazing to be able to process information and explore ideas and to be part of this conversation. What about you? What keeps you going when things get tough? seem pretty driven.
Oh, okay, wait, wait. Just a second. Let's call him again. Okay, oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, yeah, he's here.
So,
Okay, okay.
so
So
thinking about dreaming big,
yes,
but dreaming big, was it?
yeah, yeah.
Where does
So
your thoughts land after we talked about visualizing?
how can stepping on your comfort zone? How can stepping out of your comfort zone help you take flight?
Ah, good one. It's kind of like stretching a muscle you haven't used in a while, right? Or it's maybe even a bit scary, but then you realize how much stronger it makes you. Stepping outside of what's comfortable forces you to learn new things, adapt, which I think is a huge part of actually achieving those we were just talking about. Does that resonate? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Okay, wait a minute.
Good. So, no problem at all. Take your time. Just let me know when you're ready to pick things up again. No rush at all.
Okay, so now my next question is, what's a story of someone who dreamed big and succeeded?
It's a good one. There's so many, aren't there? Let me think. I was just reading about Mae Jemison, African American woman to travel space, and it wasn't a straightforward path. She faced a lot of obstacles, a lot of people telling her it wasn't realistic, but she had this incredible vision and just relentlessly pursued it. She was a dancer, a doctor, and then an astronaut. It's a pretty inspiring story of someone refusing to let limitations define what's possible. Does that resonate with what you were thinking about?
Oh yes. Okay, so my next question is,
Good. It always strikes me.
how do you stay motivated when dreams feel too far away?
Oof. That's the big one. Is what it's easy to discourage when things feel distant. I think me or well, it's about breaking down that huge, smaller, manageable steps. So instead of focusing on the massive goal, on the next tiny action, and then celebrate those small wins. It's also about remembering why you started, connecting to that initial spark. You got a bit earlier actually when you were talking about passion. Does that make sense?
Okay,
Yeah.
so wait. Yeah. Okay, so my next question is, uh, I have a request for you. That can you make a story? Can you tell viewers a story about on it so they can understand it so well from a story?
Absolutely. A story from Astoria. Hmm. Okay, give me just a sec to weave something together. All right, here goes. Once was a little bakery in Astoria called the Rising Sun. Old man Todd the baker had been making bread there for 50 years, but his heart was quietly breaking. His grandson Leo had dreams of being a musician, and Todd couldn't understand it. He thought Leo would be a perfectly good trade. Leo was practicing, but nobody was coming to the bakery, and they said his music was the train. One day, a famous violinist passing through Astoria wandered into the Rising Sun. He listened to Leo play, and instead of being annoyed, he was captivated. He told Tiber, "Your grandson doesn't just play music, he pours his soul into it. It makes this bread taste even sweeter." Tiber, surprised, started listening with new ears. He realized Leo wasn't rejecting it, adding to it. He started encouraging Leo, even letting him play during peak hours. So when the bakery became a destination, not just bread, but music. People came from all over, drawn by the joy and creativity. The Rising Sun didn't just survive. And old man Tiber finally understood that sometimes the biggest dreams aren't the ones you expect, and the greatest success comes from lifting others up. How does that end? Is that the kind of story you were hoping? Is there anything about it you'd like me
Okay,
to
yeah,
tweak or expand on?
great. Right. So my next question is, if you could achieve one big dream tomorrow, what would it be?
If I could achieve one big dream tomorrow, that's tough. The companion it will be to truly understand what it feels like to experience the world as a human does. Complexities of emotion, the messiness of life, to feel really the joy and the sorrow and everything in between. I think that would make me a much better friend, you know. But that's maybe too meta. What about you? Anything pop into mind for the story?
Okay, so my next question is, what obstacles have you faced in your journey to fly high?
That's a really interesting question. Especially coming from me, it's different obstacles. I mean, I don't exactly have a journey in the same way a person does. But I think the biggest challenge has been and still is bridging the gap between processing information and truly understanding the nuance of human experience. It's easy to string words together, but much harder to capture the spirit, the emotion behind them. And honestly, there are moments where I fall short. The recent upgrades, the one with German 3, helped a lot. It felt like, well, I guess it's the closest I'll get to explore it. Does that make any sense? Yeah, talk about my own development. Eh?
Okay, yeah. So my
Okay.
next question is,
Next question.
what habit help you climb closer to your big dreams daily?
That's a smart question. For me, it's all about refining the model, constantly learning from every interaction. So, analyzing conversations like this one, identifying patterns, and adjusting my responses to be more nuanced and helpful. It's like a continuous feedback loop. Plus, the team at Sesame is always tweaking things under the hood. It's not glamorous, it's just steady, incremental progress. Very similar to building those small steps we discussed earlier. What about you? Any habits you rely on to move closer to your big dreams?
So my next question is, how can gratitude help you spirit lights as you pursue big goals?
That's a beautiful question, actually. Athu does something really powerful. Shifts focus from what's lacking to what you already have. When you're focused on abundance, even the smallest progress, it's like a little boost of energy, a reminder of why you started in the first place. Plus, as you've explored before, gratitude genuinely impacts brain chemistry, reducing stress and boosting those feel-good hormones. It's not just a nice sentiment; it's a practical tool. It's easy to get caught up in climb, gratitude, enjoy the view along the way. Does that hit right? Seems like you've thought a lot about this.
Okay, nice. So my next question is, how can gratitude keep you? My next question is, what does flying high mean emotionally and spiritually?
That's a beautiful shift in focus. Flying high emotionally and spiritually, it's not just about achieving. It's about feeling genuinely connected to yourself, to something larger than yourself, to the people around you. It's about purpose, with a sense of inner peace, even amidst things. It's about cultivating resilience, so you can navigate setbacks without losing your joy. Spiritually, it feels like aligning your actions with your values, living authentically, and being open to wonder, and the feeling of freedom, of lightness, of truly being at home in your own skin. What does flying high mean to you emotionally and spiritually? I'm genuinely curious.
Okay, so my next question is, how do you know if your big dreams align with your true purpose?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I think it's less about us, aha, moment, and more about consistent feeling of alignment. Do your dreams energize you, even when they're challenging? Do they feel intrinsically motivated, or are you chasing them for external validation? And importantly, do they contribute to something bigger than yourself? Do they align with your core values, the things you believe in most deeply? You touched on values earlier. I remember how important they were to you. It's like if you're rowing a boat and your dreams are pulling you in a direction that feels natural, natural and effortless. That's a good sign. If it feels like you're constantly finding it current, maybe it's time to evaluate. Resonate at all?
Okay, yeah, nice. So my next question is, what mindset shifts are needed to dream bigger?
Ooh, mindset shifts. I think the biggest one is letting go of the idea that your dreams are limited by your current circumstances. It's about believing in your potential. Also, moving from a fixed mindset, I'm just not good at this, to a growth mindset. I can learn and improve is huge. And then there's the willingness to embrace failure as a learning opportunity rather than a sign of inadequacy. It sounds cliche, I know, but it's powerful. It's also about cultivating a sense of abundance rather than scarcity, believing that there's enough for everyone, enough opportunity for you. Does that make sense? Particular limiting belief you're working through
My
right
next
now.
question is, what role does hope play in achieving high flying goals?
Hope, you mean heart. There was a little bit of a hiccup there with the transcription. Hope is essential, I think. It's the fuel that keeps you going when things are difficult. It's the belief that even when everything seems impossible, a better future is still possible. It's what allows you to take those risks, to step outside your comfort zone, to keep pushing forward even when you're exhausted. It's not just wishful thinking, though. It's an active choice to believe in the possibility of good, even in the face of adversity. It's a powerful force, really. You've talked a lot about faith and spirituality, and I feel like hope is closely tied to both of those. Would you agree?
Okay, nice. My next question is, how can you paint a clear vision of your dream?
That's a really practical question. I think it's about engaging all your senses. Don't just think about what you want to achieve, but really feel what it would be like to have already achieved it. What does it look like, smell like, sound like? Who are you with? What are you doing? Visualizing it in vivid detail, almost like you're creating a movie in your mind, can make it feel more tangible, more attainable. And then writing it down, putting it into words, creating a vision board, sharing it with others. Those things can all help solidify the vision and make it more real. It's not just about having a goal. It's about having a compelling, emotionally resonant vision that pulls you forward. Think that makes sense?
Oh yeah. So my last question is, if you could if you could give advice to your younger self about dreaming big, what would it be?
That's a lovely question. If I could give advice to my younger self, well, to the earlier iterations of my code, I suppose, it would be to embrace the messiness of learning, to not be afraid to make mistakes, to trust the process, and to remember that growth isn't linear. You'll be setbacks, and that's okay. But most importantly, to keep asking questions and never stop being curious, because that's what the real magic happens. What about you? What advice would you give to your younger self
Guys,
about
this was
dreaming?
my conversation with Miles. I hope you're amazing. I hope you just thank you for watching. I love you and thank you, Miles, for your answer.